Hi all. So here today we're going to be talking about Locard's principle of exchange. The idea is that every person you come in contact with, or even any place you've been, you could potentially pick up traces of evidence from those locations or those people. Now, at the beginning of today's lab, you're going to be reflecting on where have you been, who have you been in contact with, what are some other sources of trace evidence that might be present in those particular locations? So for example, you got up this morning. You maybe walked around in your socks for a little bit. Did you pick up carpet fibers today? Did you pick up any animal hair from pets that you might have at home? So think about those things as you're reflecting on where you've been today and who you've been in contact with. I know I had a friend in high school who used to pick me up, and riding in their car, they had a dog that rode frequently in their car to go to the dog park, and so I would always get dog hair like on my rear end sitting in the front seat. So that's what you need to think of also in terms of the principle of exchange. Where should you be lifting for trace evidence from? So do your reflection first, and then when you're ready, you're going to do multiple lifts for trace evidence today. That means that we're looking for things that maybe aren't visible to the naked eye, that are so small that we're going to use a stereo microscope in order to view. So how do you actually do the lift? Well, I suggest on your lab that you should do at least one lift from a top. So today I have my sweater on and I have my gray blouse. So I could lift off of two tops to see if there's been any contact or any transfer of evidence on either thing. So I'm thinking if I have given anybody a hug today, if I brushed up against somebody, or if I was seated and maybe leaning against something. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a piece of the clear tape, the packing tape from the bin in the back, and go ahead, if you get one that doesn't have the green cutter on it, go ahead and just grab, there's some scissors back here too. Go ahead and grab one of those, and you're gonna get a small piece of the clear packing tape. Now, for some of you, this might mean that you need a partner to help you, especially if you wanna get off of your back. I'm going to, for the purposes of demonstration, just kind of show you right here on my shoulder. So you take the piece of tape and sticky side down, place it on the item, and go ahead and push on it a little bit, and then go ahead and peel it right off. Now, the trick is, this is staticky tape. Look what happens when I bring my finger close to it. If you don't want the tape to peel back on itself, oops, stick your finger towards it, and then that will control the end of the tape until you're ready to do something with it. The next step is to make sure that you have a piece of spot paper, and those are in this small blue basket here, right by the clear packing tape. So you're going to want to pick up one of those spot papers. Now, in forensic science, the investigators might have a card. It's more like cardstock, and it has tape already attached to it. So all they do is peel back the tape, and there it just stuck to my hand, and then put it down on the white spot paper. I use recycled paper, so there's going to be printing maybe on one side. Don't put your tape on that side. Go ahead, and then you're going to place the piece of tape on the white spot paper, and then fold over the edges. At this point, now, when I look at this, I can actually see that there are tiny little black fibers from my sweater, and it looks like there's some other stuff on there too, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to take these lifts, and I'm going to go and use the stereo microscope to count how many different fibers do I see. I want to be thinking about what kinds of observations do I want to write down on my lab in classroom. Am I going to record obviously the number, so that's going to be quantitative data, but I also want to record things qualitatively too. So what color of fibers am I seeing? What texture am I seeing? So some of the strands might be almost braided or helical. Some of them might be real fuzzy on the edges where others maybe aren't. They're nice and smooth. So looking at the different types of fibers, you don't have to count the total number on here. Please don't do that. But what you should do is count how many different types. So if I only see my black fibers from my sweater on here, I only have one type to describe. If I see those and maybe a random red strand of something, that's weird. I'm going to have to think about where might I have come in contact with either red fabric or red off of somebody else's clothing. So you're going to do your lift off of at least one top, one bottom. Make sure you're lifting appropriately off of your partner's. Make sure that it's not in an inappropriate place. And you're going to want to do the bottoms of your socks, assuming you have socks on. And I would also do the bottom of your shoes, because you may have picked up some interesting things from outside, if you've been walking around different areas of school. Some people choose to do their backpack. If you've got like a scarf on, ladies, or men, I guess, you potentially could do a lift off of your scarf. When you think about the backpack, a lot of people do the bottom of the backpack because you're setting the bag down on the floor. So that's something to consider. Make sure you're doing lifts off of the place where you think may have come in contact with that alternate location or alternate people or other things. Good luck today.